welcome back to my channel. And today I'm doing a very belated review of the Colored Raine Vivid Pigments and Shadows palette. I actually had picked this up while I was in Tennessee. I filmed a review while I was there, kind of rewatched it and didn't like how it turned out. So here we are. It's a little bit later, but better late than never. I have heard nothing but amazing things since this palette was released. I'm pretty sure it was a limited edition job when it first came out and then they made it permanent. I know that in the original one, the singles were just singles in like a more Z palette formation. Now it's just in this standard, you know, palette, whatever situation going on, but you can pop these out and put them in a Z palette should you so wish. This palette is going to run you $55. You are getting 16 shades, and I think it's gonna be like 24 grams. I'm not so good at doing the math, but I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Every single blinking shade in this thing is matte, which you guys know kind of tugs on my matte loving heartstrings. It is what I am wearing on my peepers today. I started out with Crushing, then went into Splash, then went into Sauce, and did Sauce on the lower lash line. I did go into the Violet Vase Flamingo palette for the yellow shimmer on my eyes, but everything else is a la Colored Raine. But that's enough of that. Let us get into swatching these bad boys, and then we'll be talking about the palette on a whole and whether I think it is worth your monetary investment. Brought you all in closer for that live action replay going on. How am I gonna do this? I'm just gonna go whoop, whoop, whoop like I do. So we are starting off with Sauce going on right here. Then we have Unbothered and Drip Drip, which you guys know I love me some blue. Here we have them right here, and that's just so pretty. Next up is Bossed Up right here. Then we have Party Drip and Lemon Drop, which I will tell you all right now, aside from Sugar Pill, this is like the most legit yellow I have ever used. I mean, look at that yellow. It's just so ka-cha-cha-cha-cha, which is usually my highlighter noise, but oh well. Then we have Jet Set, which is one of the smoothest feeling ones, I will have to admit. This one was cute. Then we have Crushin', which is, like I said, what I started with. Let me tell you, it looks kind of like peachy whatever. It definitely goes on the eyes much more like straight up orange. Maybe you can see like right there. Next is Level Up. Then we have Neo Blue and Vibes right here. Almost running out of space. That was pitiful. Then the blue, and then the purple. And just like, look at my fingers after swatching. There is pigment left over. Then on the last row, we've got Splash, which is probably the grittiest out of them. Next we have Squad right here. Then we have Yacht Life, which is again kind of powdery and gritty, just like Splash, but I mean, I've dealt with powdery shadows before. And these we're gonna like, let's see here, how are we gonna do this? This one like here, and then this one like here, and then this one like here. I know that's not the best way to swatch, but here we go. Like I said, super stained fingers. I mean, looking at this, looks like I've been playing all up in the paint section at a preschool. Then last but not least is Perp Smurf right here, which I just love the purples. We'll just do her right there. And here we have the lovely swatches going on. I mean, for the most part, this is like what swatch dreams are made of. This is like, I feel like for Instagram or whatever, this is how you would want your palette to swatch, because it's just like super intense and opaque and beautiful, except for that one was a little more faint and that one was a little more faint. But we've got the swatches going on here. Let's see if I can take them off my skin. And then we'll do some talkie-talkie on the palette on a whole. Alright, y'all, I ain't even gonna beat around the bush on this one. This palette is so great. For someone who is like a hardcore lover of color like I am, this palette is essentially a dream come true. I mean, I've got everything I need in this thing. I've got a myriad of purples, blue, greens, and I will say, although like this purple and this green didn't necessarily swatch the best, they perform very nice on the eyes and no different than any of the other shades in the palette. I do like the fact that you have kind of this like unique reddy browny shade, you know, kind of like, you know, if you wanted to maybe tone things down a little bit, then you have this beautiful red. One of the best yellows I have ever used in my entire life. It is so hard to get a yellow that is like super pigmented and unpatchy and smooth, and this one did it. And another thing I love about this palette is how it's laid out. I do have it upside down right now, but if you look, you've got kind of like, you're like, oh, I'll start with this one, and then I can deepen up with this, and then deepen it up even more with that, and kind of same with the blues, and then you have the tone of the green and the orangey shades here, or you could take it this way. It's very innovative and user-friendly, I feel like, being for such like a bright and vivid palette. And honestly, all layout aside and all whatever just out there, just the quality and the beauty of these shadows and how they perform on your eyes is just phenomenal. I have used every single shade in this palette. I use just my NYX High Definition Eyeshadow Primer. Personally, I haven't experienced any kind of staining. If you're someone who doesn't use primer, that might be a problem. I don't know if you can see when we're doing some of the swatches, some of them, you know, you gotta work a little harder to kind of get off. But while using a primer, I had absolutely no problems whatsoever. This palette is inspiring to me. I look at it and I just see so many different fun, either monochromatic looks or bright fun looks. I find that if I like, when I'm like needing a bright color, this is the palette that I like dip into to supplement other palettes with. This is something that I wish I had jumped on the bandwagon sooner because it is just so good and it is such a joy to work with. Even though you have these two shades that are like a little gritty, like it's like when you swatch it, it feels like, you know, you got some like granulars in there, but I don't experience any problem when I'm just, you know, picking it up with a brush and putting it on my eyes. So I am not sure what that is all about, but I highly, highly recommend picking this palette up. If you are someone who is already obsessed and in love with color, I would say this is the palette for you. If you're someone who is interested in kind of getting into color, this might not be the best option because the shadows are so pigmented. So for a beginner with color, for someone who's not too experienced, it might be a little intimidating. But the quality and the look and the finish and just how they are is just amazing. This is the first, like, I think colored Raine product I've ever actually tried, and now I'm like, your girl might need to try some more out from them. It's just so good and so beautiful and so inspiring. I love the artsy fartsy whatever packaging going on here with all the colors. It's not a deceptive packaging. You open it up and you're like, yeah, the packaging matches. So for color lovers and people looking for an inspirational palette or a palette that's gonna pull them out of their neutral rut, this is one that I would just say go out and get. It's good. Alright, and there we had that exceptionally favorable review. I apologize for it being so kind of late to the game, because I did ask y'all on my community tab here whether you wanted, and you said yes, and then I filmed it and then I never put it up. So, like I said, better late than never. Definitely let me know what you think about this palette down below in the comments. You have it, you love it, you hate it. Your opinions, whether it's something you're interested in or not at all. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!